What's going on YouTube? In this video, I'm going to be showing you step by step how to fill out a contract with a seller, aka a purchase agreement, so you can get your first deal under contract and many more. And by the way, if you're new to this channel, today happens to be day 22 of our 30 days of wholesaling houses. For the month of May, I decided to do daily videos showing you step by step how to make money in your market flipping houses. Now, I want to show you step by step for absolutely free. All I ask is that you like and subscribe to the channel, and I promise you guys to consistently provide value, gems, and all the resources that I've known that's helped me close over 300 plus deals by wholesaling houses. So guys, for those that have no idea who I am, my name is Saenz. I'm a 23-year-old real estate entrepreneur. I started real estate wholesaling, real estate investing at the age of 18 with no money, no credit, no resources. Definitely didn't get free training like I'm doing on this channel. But over the last few years, I've wholesaled and flipped a few hundred homes, and I want to show you exactly how to do it step by step for absolutely free. So make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's get going with day 22 of the 30 days of wholesaling houses. Let's go. Guys, so here we are on the screen. I'm going to be giving you guys a free purchase agreement. This is the same purchase agreement that I've used for years in many different markets, from California to Texas to Florida to Detroit to everywhere, like literally almost every state. I've used this all over the country. Now, before I even start with the purchase agreement, I just want to make a disclaimer. I highly suggest that you seek legal counsel when it comes to contracts. Every contract varies. Every state has different regulation. Every county has different regulations. So make sure that you go with an attorney, go over the contract here. Maybe they can provide you a better one specific to your state. But when it comes to a purchase agreement, a contract, this is going to be something that we've used, and I want to give this to you guys for absolutely free. The link to download will be in the description, so you can check that out. So without further ado, let's dive right into the contract. I want to make this as clear as possible for you guys. So here we have the contract. Guys, number one, when it comes to sellers, the word contract is a big no-no. This is a huge gem. I will write this down. Don't use the word contract with a seller. Contract to me feels chained up. It feels tied up. It feels, just the word con alone has a very bad demeanor. So don't use the word contract. Use the word purchase agreement. Mr. Seller, are you ready to sign the purchase agreement? It's a purchase agreement, and it's the same thing. So here you would put the date. So today is so let's just pretend it's like New Year's today. So we're going to put day 1. This agreement is made this one day of, we're going to put January, if I can spell it right, of 2020, by in between seller name. So we're just going to put, this is where you're going to put seller name. You're going to put Joe Davis. If your name happens to be Joe Davis, hi Joe Davis. And then here's by in between Joe Davis, hereafter called sellers, and your name. So this is where you're going to put your name. So I'm just going to put Saenz and or assigns. Guys, this is the biggest part of the contract, or one of two biggest parts. And or assigns. This is the wording that allows you to assign the contract so you can make money. So here's like Saenz and or assignee, which is assigns, and the assignee is going to be the cash buyer that I assign the deal to, that pays me $10,000, $15,000 for the deal. So where you make your profit is assigning the contract, and here this is the wording that allows you to assign the contract to another assignee, another cash buyer. So and or assigns hereafter called buyer, buyer and seller hereafter jointly be referred to as the parties. Description of the premises: seller agrees to sell the buyer the property located at, so this is where you put the property address. We're just gonna put 123 Main Street, Phoenix, Arizona 85004. This is where you put that. You can also put the parcel number. The parcel number could be found in Zillow.com under the home descriptions. Here you have a description written as follows. When it comes to cash transactions, you're buying the property in as-is condition, so this always stays the same. As-is condition. Description is including any fixtures, windows, and floor coverings, built-in appliances, draperies, including hardware, shades, blinds, windows, and door screens, awnings. Description is everything is included, everything on the property. Here is a very important part: purchase price. The seller agrees to convey property to buyer, which is you, for the sum of, and here is where you put the amount. So say we're going to buy the property for $100,000, and then here you would type it out in words. So 100 And then here you would also put 100,000, so 100. So earnest money, this is all dependent on the seller, the property, but here we're just gonna put $100 earnest money. If you don't have $100, I didn't have it when I first started. I put $10 earnest money. Typically a seller is not going to care about it because they just assure them, especially if you come in with the confidence, they're not going to second guess that. If they do, you can negotiate. Hey, we normally do $100 per transaction. This is typical. We've done a ton of deals this way. But I can assure you, Mr. Seller, what ultimately matters is we're gonna deliver every single penny when it comes to the $100,000, to you, minus any taxes or liens or mortgages that they have, of course. So earnest money amount would go there. Put $10, put $100, $50, but put something. At least $10. Here you have your terms. So this is where all the terms of the contract are. So number one term is closing costs, attorney fees, title fees, other miscellaneous costs are to be paid in the following fashion. This is going to be paid by the buyer, but keep in mind, this is paid by your end buyer, not you. If you're signing the contract and you assign it for $10,000, you're gonna make $10,000 and the end buyer is going to pay for the closing costs and any miscellaneous costs when it comes to title expenses. But here you leave it like this, paid in full by buyer. That is absolutely normal, especially because your sales pitch when it comes to wholesaling deals or getting deals under contract is, hey, I can pay cash, I can close in 10 to 14 days, and I can pay all the closing costs. So the closing cost is going to be clause number one, so make sure you leave it like that. So clause number two, any taxes, not including transfer taxes, liens, encumbrances, and or mortgage owed will be closed and paid in full by the seller. So that is, any taxes, liens, that is completely on the sellers. That is not your responsibility to pay, so you leave that as is. And then number three is your closing time frame. So the seller and buyer will set closing to be as soon as possible for all parties, but no later than 30 business days or sooner after the date of ratification. The date of ratification just means when everything's ready. So, but no later than 30 days. So here's a tip. we put 30 business days, which happens to be like 45 regular days. But you can also just put a date. So here, let's just say like we want to close, January 31st, 2020. So we get the property contract on the 1st and we want to close in 30 days, which would be the 31st. So you can close on this date or sooner after date of ratification without written addendum to this agreement. If closing is not possible within this time due to issues that arise during title search, closing may be extended 90 days at option of buyer. So this just means if the title company is having trouble with past, mortgages or liens or payoffs or any title issues, and the title isn't ready in those 30 days, you can extend the closing and prolong it 90 days so the title company can have enough time to clear the title so you can actually close the deal. Number four, property sold as is with no warranties implied or stated from sellers. So again, property sold as is, very simple there. Five, seller to provide buyer with permission to access to properties for purposes such as evaluation or repairs needed and for final inspection. So this is a clause that you can remove. Sometimes the sellers get a little, uncomfortable when it comes to this clause because they may live in the property still and they don't want you to have access. But really what this clause means is, hey, Mr. Seller, after we sign this contract, you're pretty much giving me permission to, not intrude in your property, but you're giving me permission to make sure that I can see the property after. Because sometimes what can happen is, say you sign the contract and the seller doesn't want you to be in the property until you close the property. Well, that's really tough because what if something happened inside the property that can change your offer, that can skyrocket your rehab estimates? Sellers, it's a weird world sometimes, so you want to make sure that you have their consent to see the property during the title process, during the closing period. If the property is vacant, seller shall provide buyer with keys to access property specifically for the reasons above. Keys shall be provided on date of ratification. So date of ratification, actually to be exact, is the date that you guys both sign the contract and then it's open with the title company. So if the house is vacant, most sellers will just give you the key. You can put a lockbox on the property to make it real easy for you to access it, take pictures, and then for buyers to check out the property in an attempt to assign the deal and make a profit. Number six, this offer is contingent on seller providing a clear title to buyer. So guys, sometimes deals fall south because of title issues. Sometimes, title companies cannot get clear title because of whatever issues with sellers. So this offer is always contingent on the title being clear. Out of 10 deals, you'll have maybe 1 or 2 deals that can't clear title, and that's just to be expected. So that clause just protects you, so you're not held liable in case they can't provide a clear title and you can't close a deal. Clause number 7, which is the most important clause. I get this question over and over again. Alex, what if I can't find a buyer? What if I can't close a deal? Guys, clause number 7 is the answer to all your issues and all your worries. This offer is subject to financial partners' approval. Financial partners' approval means your lender or your business partner, somebody has to financially approve the deal. So if you can't sell the property, you can go to your title company and say, hey, my financial partner did not approve on the deal. I'd like to cancel the contract. I'd like to cancel escrow, and I'd like for the earnest money to be released back to me. Sometimes the seller will fight for the earnest money. Guys, if it's $10 or $100, let it go. It's not worth the hassle. But I mean, 8 out of 10 times you're going to get the earnest money back, because you can say that your financial partner didn't approve, and that's actually in the contract. So I mean, you're not hiding anything. This is all up front. But again, make sure that you consult with an attorney specific to your state. But I've done this in many states and never have had an issue with it. So clause number 8, the title report and survey, if required, will be ordered promptly, and if not available on the settlement date, then settlement may be delayed up to 14 business days to obtain the title report and survey, after which this contract at the option of buyer may be terminated and deposit will be refunded in full to the buyer. So this is pretty much saying that if the title report cannot be cleared, then you can cancel the contract and get your earnest money back. Number 9, any changes must be made in writing and mutually agreed upon. And in the next videos, I'm going to be showing you how to find title companies, how to build a relationship with them so they can benefit your business. But any changes must be made in writing and mutually agreed upon. Your title company can draft up what's called an addendum to change a certain term in the contract. So say, you know that you can't close by the 31st, and you and the seller agree, hey, I need 10 additional days. You can do an addendum extending the closing period for 10 days. So this has to be in writing. The title company can help you draft that, and it has to have your signature and the seller's signature to be made valid. Number 10, defects. Seller warrants subject property to be free from hazardous substances. All this clause means that the seller is consenting to the fact that there's no hazardous materials, no health or environmental code obstruction to the property, no harmful material, and the seller's just agreeing to the fact that he knows nothing about it, and he's just assuring you that there's nothing shady going on in the property. There's no busted gas pipes or weird hazardous material in the property. Clause number 11, insurance. As consideration for this purchase, the seller will assign all insurance policies on the property to the buyer, and seller will grant a limited power of attorney to the buyer to deal with the lenders and insurance providers. This is a clause that sometimes we've actually took out when it comes to specific sellers. But all this means is that if you buy a property today and then next week there's a fire damage or something crazy happens to the property, you have a say-so in the insurance because you're trying to buy the property. You're in a legal binding contract. But if the seller has, if the seller is just incapable of dealing with the property, number one, it could be a deal breaker if something happens to the property where they have to deal with insurance. The seller might not want to proceed. But some sellers just really truly need your help to sell the property. So this is where you can play a hand when it comes to the insurance and handling that. I've actually never had to deal with that, but that clause is in there just in case. Clause number 12, risk of loss. If subject property is damaged prior to transfer of title, buyer has the option of accepting any insurance proceeds with title to the property in as-is condition, or of canceling this contract and accepting the return of the deposit. Guys, so all this means that if during the process of you trying to buy their house, from the time that you signed the contract to the time of closing, the property's damaged, you have a say-so in the insurance proceeds because you were trying to buy their property. That's actually never happened to me during that time, but this is where you can be granted some insurance proceeds due to the issues that arise during the duration of you trying to close a property, or you can just cancel the deal and get your earnest money back and then move on to the next one. So guys, clause number 13, no judgments. Just to summarize this one, this is the seller letting you know that they have no judgments on their name that can stop the transaction. A judgment is something that the seller has on their personal credit, and that needs to be paid. Typically it's, a collection, or sometimes it's like a tax judgment. So by the seller signing this, they're letting you know, hey, I have no judgments that's going to affect the sale of this property. So if, say for this instance, we're buying the property for $100,000 and say the seller has a judgment for $200,000, I cannot buy that property property, because title is not going to insure the deed when it comes to this transaction, this property, because of the judgment. So 13 is the seller signing off that there's no judgment that can affect the sale of the property. Number 14, and the last one, acceptance. This instrument will become a binding contract when accepted by seller and signed by both buyer and seller. So once you sign the contract and the seller signs the contract, it is now a legal binding contract, and this can be held up in court. But again, make sure you consult with the local attorney, or go to your local title company and walk them down this contract and ask them, hey, is there anything that I should add for our specific area, for our specific county or state, or is there anything I should remove? This is not a one size fits all, but this is one that I've used in 10 plus states, and you can use this for absolutely free because you're following me on YouTube. Guys, and last thing I want to note here, additional terms. This is where you can put any additional terms that you and the seller agree upon. This is where you can do, like, you know, you as a buyer consenting that they can take appliances. So buyer agrees that seller can take all appliances in the property. So any term like that can be added there. So I want to walk you guys where you guys should be signing. So seller should be initialing right here, and then you initial right there. You come down here, buyer, this is where you're going to sign. You date it, and then this is where the seller signs, and then you date it. If there's two people on title, you want to get both signatures. Actually, huge nugget, and I don't know if this is like in every state, but here in Arizona, you only need one signature to open escrow. So if there's a husband and wife, if I just get the husband's signature on a contract, I can open escrow. But in order to close a deal, you need both signatures. So I would just try to get all signatures signed on the contract whenever purchase agreement, when I'm, in the process of signing this with the seller. So seller signs there, date it, seller initials there, you initial here, and that is how you fill out a contract. I hope that this video was valuable and explainable, and if you have any questions, make sure you comment down below. Again, you can get this purchase agreement absolutely free. The link is in the description. You just have to click on the link, enter your information, and it will be sent directly to you. But guys, that is it for day 22. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're almost done with the 30 days. I'm going to be painting the entire picture on how you can literally go from 0 to 100,000 in a year very fast by wholesaling real estate. So I hope you guys found this video valuable. Thank you guys. Make sure you like this video, comment down below any questions you have. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you tomorrow in day 23. Let's go.